Welcome and thank you for joining St. Mark's Community of Faith online worship service. Today we're reflecting on what it means to fall in love with God. So grab a cup of tea or a cup of coffee and listen to the music, hear the words, and enjoy. As we gather today, each in our own space, our own homes, in our own times, with gratitude and honor, we acknowledge that we reside on the lands and the territories of our Indigenous brothers and sisters. We seek as a community of people to be reconciled with all life, all beings on our earth, and we invite Great Spirit God to walk with us, to hold us as we traverse this time of acknowledgement, of justice seeking, and of loving kindness. Amen. I welcome you now into this time of centering. Just take a moment to breathe in the space that we are and be conscious of who has scripted their name upon our hearts. It is with your loving kindness, Great Spirit God, that we come to know our true selves. It is with your constancy that we remain dedicated to our own spiritual journey, and we embrace all that you offer, the challenges, the love, the hope, the complications, trusting that you hold us in all that we do, in all that we are, and wherever we are going.
Chapter 31, verses 31 to 34. The days are surely coming, says our God, when I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and the house of Judah, with all peoples. It will not be like the covenant that I made with their ancestors when I took them by the hand to bring them out of the land of Egypt, a covenant that they broke, though I was their beloved, says God. But this is the covenant that I will make with the house of Israel, with all peoples. After those days, God says, I will put my law within them, and I will write it on their hearts. And I will be their God, and they shall be my people. No longer shall they teach one another, or say to each other, Know your God, for they shall all know me, from the least of them to the greatest, says God. For I will forgive their iniquity, and remember their separation from me no more.
I just finished a session with our small group, and it occurs to me that when we falling in hard, we could potentially hit something and be damaged, or we could just keep falling. And that's how I envision our relationship with the Holy, with our beautiful God spirit thing that lives and rests and resides in all life. That's what Jeremiah is talking about. This beautiful God thing that is always falling in love with us and inviting us to always be falling in love with. The old stories, they're turning new. The old way of thinking is being replaced with a open, wide-minded, deep heart truth that was written, carved, tattooed into our beings before we were born. And the more that each of us, every individual with a desire, a passion, a prophetic voice to bring about the needed change that our world requires and calls to us, the more we live out from that place, doesn't it just make sense that we would be better off to recognize that and live out that and not be afraid to take a running leap off that cliff and just keep falling in love with God, knowing that that expansive space is just waiting to hover with us to wherever we go, whether we land, whether we soar, whether we keep going, whether we find another plateau to embark upon. We need to start writing new stories about who we are as a Jesus community. We need to not be afraid to speak of the things that press on our beings, that we wonder about, that we question. We need to not be afraid of our own imagination and our own truth. Jeremiah was a very young person when they were walking across all the different lands, entering into different territories, and speaking and sharing and prophesizing about this incredible God experience that he had as a teenager. And he had a friend who would follow him around and write everything down so that he could share this incredible vision of falling in love with God. he was writing a new story. And we are the prophets of this time. And we need to start writing new stories about what it means to be in intimate relationship with this God that has written itself upon our beings. We need to figure that out and take the time to listen to how that is speaking to us in our lives. And I know there are many of us who hear that and want to respond and may be cautious about judgment and shame and all those things that often come with speaking out differently. I encourage us to take that leap, just as Jeremiah did, to start to believe in that story that God has written for each of us, and to start to live it out, no matter where we are on our journey. Fall in love with God, because God is always falling in love with us.
Generous God, who fills the earth with abundance, oceans and skies full of water, fields that yield food, flowers and birdsong and beauty of all sorts. May we live with generous hearts, with open hands. Humble God who enters and is our humanity, you touch the untouchable, speak to the outcasts, wash the feet of prisoners. May we live with humble hearts, looking always to the needs of others as well as ourselves. Everything God, you long for us to be in relationship with you through contemplative prayer, fasting, uncertainty, celebration, suffering, creating, community, quiet, and hope. May we love you with all of our hearts, minds, and souls. Walk with us on this Lenten journey, Holy One. Give us eyes to see the path that you would have us take. Give us ears to hear the truth you speak to us. Give us the wisdom to store our treasure with you, so that our hearts may abide in your perfect peace.
For March 21st, the fifth Sunday in Lent, our stewardship second is, stewards pray for a new and right spirit within, and serve by following Jesus.
I offer us this blessing for this time that we have gathered. May we, throughout our lives, uncover the script that God has written into our beings since the day we first emerged into this world. May we recognize how spring is inviting us into new life. And as our Lenten journey begins to descend into Holy Week and open up once again into Easter, help us to be aware and in tune and gentle with ourselves and all life around us. Amen. Thank you so much for joining us. Next week, we will be celebrating Palm Sunday with a variety of voices. So please remember to subscribe and stay tuned to the end of the video where there will be information for you to connect with St. Mark's in a variety of ways. Take gentle care. See you soon. God bless.